Today, we're diving deep into a conflict that's been raging in the shadows for decades. And to really get a sense of the scale and the stakes, we're going to start with a hypothetical event, set just a couple years in the future.
Picture this. The sun's just coming up over a secret Israeli airbase. A single fighter jet takes off. It's loaded with missiles so precise they could hit a dining room table from 1,000 kilometers away. And the pilot, he has one single, incredibly high-stakes objective.
The mission is to fly for hours, push deep into Iranian airspace, and at exactly 9:50 a.m., bomb a very specific building on Tehran's Pasteur Street. Why that building? Because inside, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is holding a top-secret meeting with his entire senior command. Pull this off, and you've basically just decapitated the entire Iranian regime.
And the strike? It's a total success. In one surgical attack, the supreme leader and 40 of Iran's top civilian and military leaders are gone. You're talking the defense minister, the top brass of the IRGC, all of them, eliminated in a flash.
So you can imagine, the entire world is just stunned, and everybody is asking the same exact question. How on earth was an operation this complex even possible? How did Israel and the U.S. know precisely where and when that meeting was happening?
Well, the answer lies in what might be one of the most sophisticated intelligence operations ever pulled off. It's a story of total surveillance that gave Mossad a kind of godlike view into the secret heart of Tehran.
At the core of this whole thing is a technique called pattern of life analysis. The idea is to track a target's daily life in such microscopic detail that you can predict what they're going to do just from the data. You basically know them better than their own family does, and Israel's elite intelligence group, the famous Unit 8200, has this down to a science.
So how'd they build this pattern? Well, for over a decade, Mossad had hacked Tehran's traffic cameras, piping live video feeds back to servers in Israel. Unit 8200 was deep inside Iran's mobile networks, grabbing call records, locations, you name it, all in real time. And for the final nail in the coffin, the CIA had a human source, an asset, right inside the leadership's inner circle, who gave them that last critical confirmation.
Okay, so they have the intel, now they have to make sure the strike is absolutely perfect. First, multiple sources confirmed Khamenei was actually in his office, not a secure bunker. Second, Israeli cyber units created this invisible communications blackout right around the target, which meant no warnings could get in or out. And finally, the jet itself fired those precision spiral missiles from way outside the range of Iran's air defenses.
Now, this kind of strike, this hypothetical 2026 attack, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. Not at all. It's really the climax of a long, brutal, and mostly secret war that has been targeting the heart of the Iranian state for years. This has been a relentless campaign of targeted assassinations. Over the years, key players in Iran's nuclear program have been taken out one by one, using tactics that are just ripped straight from a Hollywood spy thriller. We're talking magnetic bombs slapped on cars by agents on motorcycles, and even an AI-controlled robotic machine gun operated from miles away. And what you see here is really a two-pronged attack. On one side, you've got this incredible cyber sabotage, like the Stuxnet virus, which was really the world's first true cyber weapon, designed by the US and Israel to literally tear nuclear centrifuges apart from the inside. Then on the other side, you have good old-fashioned physical sabotage, like when a bomb was smuggled into that same facility years later to blow the whole assembly hall to pieces.
But, maybe the most audacious, most unbelievable operation in this entire shadow war wasn't a bombing or an assassination. It was a heist. A theft so daring, some have called it the heist of the century. So picture this. It's January 2018. In a pretty quiet district of Tehran, there's this ordinary-looking warehouse. But inside is Iran's most heavily guarded secret, its entire nuclear weapons archive. And in the dead of night, a team of 24 Mossad agents breaks in.
They get away with a massive haul. We're talking over 50,000 pages of top-secret documents and more than 150 CDs with everything from warhead designs to manufacturing plans. They load it all onto trucks and smuggle it clean out of Iran before anyone even realizes it's missing. Just gone.
And the craziest part? Iran had no idea. For months, they were completely in the dark. Until that is, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gets on live television, holds up the files, and basically says to the whole world, hey, look what we've got.
So you have to ask, where did all of this animosity even come from?
It's not just about the nuclear program. To really get it, you have to go way back, all the way to 1953, to a CIA operation that completely changed Iran's future.
Okay, so in 1951, Iran gets its first democratically elected prime minister, a guy named Mohammad Mossadegh. One of the first things he does is nationalize the country's oil industry, taking it out of British hands. Well, this did not sit well with the UK and the US, so they launched Operation Ajax, a coup to get rid of him. They succeeded and put the authoritarian Shah back on the throne, where he ruled with an iron fist for the next 26 years.
And how'd the CIA pull it off? It was a classic playbook, really. They funded street protests, bribed Iranian politicians and military officers, and ran this huge propaganda campaign to paint the democratically elected leader as a godless communist. And it worked. Mossadegh was out.
But that anger, the anger over this coup that was orchestrated by foreign powers, it never disappeared. It just simmered under the surface for decades, until it finally boiled over into the 1979 Islamic Revolution, which brought the fiercely anti-American regime to power that's still there today.
And that history brings us right back to today, and to a really critical argument that our source material makes about the real motivation behind this decades-long shadow war.
According to the source we're looking at, the official story, what you hear publicly, is that this is all about promoting democracy and stopping a nuclear bomb. But this source argues that if you look at the history, the real goal is something else entirely. It's not about a free Iran, but a compliant one, an Iran with what it calls a remote-controlled government that serves US and Israeli interests, just like the Shah's regime once did.
So, that really leaves us with a huge question, right? After all these decades of covert ops, from coups to cyber warfare, what is the ultimate endgame here? Is this really about freedom for the Iranian people? Or is it about geopolitical control?
And even putting motives aside for a second, it makes you wonder, can a strategy built on assassinations, sabotage, and secret strikes, a strategy that has defined this conflict for over 70 years, can that ever actually lead to any kind of real lasting peace?